start the formal part of our program. So if everybody can just sign up, find yourself a seat, and you're going to be happier if you can see the monitor here. This is great. Okay, and I am now going to turn this microphone over, much to your delight, to somebody who really knows how to work a microphone. Patty Scaramella, formerly Di Bernardis.
Thank you. And at this time, I really would like, I think, Mike, this is a really good time to have you come up, because apparently we have a proclamation from the mayor of the city of Utica.
It's funny, you know, I talked to Bob Barone the other day, and he said, Michael, this thing has grown by leaps and bounds. Well, apparently the past 48 hours has also grown even further. I'm holding a certificate of recognition from the mayor's office, and this is what the proclamation says. We hereby present you with this certificate of recognition in honor of the 40th anniversary of Revolution's writing and production, a unique collaboration between faculty and students. Its performance lives on in the hearts and minds of those who were a part of its creation on this 31st day of July in the year 2015. So I want to give this to...
Thank you. So I want to say a couple of short words about what the Fine Arts Department at UFA meant to me and all of you, I'm sure, else you wouldn't be here. In many of our schools today, and I only wrote this down because I can't remember anything anymore, and I didn't want to get up here and ramble. As you can see, I do that very easily. Anyway, in many of our schools today, and I speak of my situation in particular, money is tight, and we're looking to outside sources to fund our education. Grants are sought for anything and everything to provide us with some amount of cash flow to cover expenses, and that often results in activities and courses that take our students out of school. We have late entry, early dismissal, BOCES, which is not like it was in UFA at the 70s, where it was right in our basement. The Bridge program through MBCC, Young Scholars through Utica College, those are just a couple. So our kids are never in school. And the good ones seem to get taken out even quicker. So back at our UFA, we had everything. BOCES built houses, fixed cars, and was in our basement. We were in the middle of the city with the richest, the poorest, a mixture of races, nationalities, creeds, sexual preferences, interests, talents, and diversity, just as today. But it wasn't the focus of debate and political correct or incorrectness as it is today. We just found our niche, developed our friendships, and accepted and found our way amongst everyone else. For us, our niche was the fine arts. The Fine Arts Department was our place. It gave us a place to belong. With our combined talents and interests, we were able to come together to create this revolutionary collaboration. But this would never have been possible without Mr. Barone, Mr. Hebert, Mr. Hanisch, and Mrs. Schmidt. For me personally, it wouldn't be right if I didn't mention someone else who truly was a mentor and inspiration to me, and that was Angela Rivers Smith. Her theory classes sparked a true interest in composition and arrangements that I've put to great use today, arranging many of the scores to suit the vocal parts I have in choir. If you've never been a choir teacher, the changing voice is a killer. You get, one year you'll get like 4 guys that come in as tenors and their basses in January, and then you have no guys and you need to fill all these, it's just crazy. So her being able to teach me how to arrange and how to write music was invaluable. And finally, I think I should actually apologize to Mr. Mickle, because I think I drove him to retirement because he was gone the next year after I graduated. Anyway, Revolution then is all of our combined dreams and talents brought to life. And with our mentors, Ron Hebert, Bob Barone, Kathy Schmidt, and Jim Hanisch, amazing direction, dedication, and true love of the fine arts, we brought this dream, this inspiration, to a reality. Actually, to a revolution. Anyway, at this time, I want to turn the microphone over to Mr. Hanisch, who has some time to say a few words himself.
I had a little bit easier because we had 5 choirs and the changing voices were all in one choir. Where can you have a job where you go every day and love what you're doing and make music? Some of you may have that position right now. We came together as a group of people, and we ended up as a family each year. And one time, the 5 of us, working with Project Search, I think Bob was the one who had the idea of the revolution, weren't you? And started a writing group. And they wrote out poetry, and I diddled off some of the poetry or songs and handed out to kids, and they would come in, some in groups, and sing their melodies that they made up for that, and we picked the one we wanted, and I'd add some harmony to it and send it over to Mr. Hebert, and he would orchestrate it. And in the meantime, Mr. Barone was downstairs working with the leads and blocking the stage and putting up scenery and so on, and then all of a sudden the hordes came. And it was up to Mr. Barone to take choirs that suddenly were in a place where we had curtains and scenery that soaked up all the sound. You felt like you were singing solo. And then we had to get our pitch from an orchestra 25 or 50 feet away from us, from a violin or whatever it was, your oboe, where are you? And so this was all left to Mr. Barone to put this all together. And I'm sure he ate a few ties. But we rehearsed and we rehearsed and we rehearsed, and again we became a family. And it was that all of us working toward one goal that I think was the success of the whole thing. We all worked together. I think we argued a little bit with one another once in a while. No. But it all came together, and we came together as a family. And I think now, too, I'm thinking about what's going on in our world today, in our politics. And the problem is we're not a family. We're all working our own way. And maybe there's hope. But we've had a chance ourselves to, maybe we can cry. We've had a chance to have a taste of what it's like to be a family and work for one goal. And I think that's why we're here today. And I thank you all for asking me.
I feel so much better now because when I read this to my husband, I started to cry.
One more thing. You gave that plaque to me. I'm going to give it to Mr. Brown because he's the one who ended up getting all it's right there on the table. He's the one that put it all together finally with the edits.
I'm so glad that you're crying because I thought I didn't want my husband to see me cry because I thought he's going to think I'm a real jerk. Why are you crying? But it starts to bring back the, you know how you felt in high school? I felt so insignificant, you know what I mean? And this made me feel like part of something, like a family. You're absolutely right. I can't even think now. Who was going to call that? Kathy? Right? Kathy, you want to go next? Okay, so now I would like to introduce Kathy Schmidt and invite her up. Actually, could you dance up here, please?
It is really amazing. I was thinking about it this morning, and over our careers, we were often asked to sit down and make sure that we had enough statements available to, consult a parent, or if someone asked us from the Board of Education or whatever, why the arts were necessary, what was significant about them. You had to really be prepared. And I'm thinking, you can't go backwards, It would be lovely to take this and take a capsule of it and have taken it back, because you don't see it until after the fact. But I feel honored that you have even made the effort to, make sure that this happened, because it's really, it makes me feel blessed to think that maybe there was, a significant amount of energy, time, whatever, that we as a group put into making your lives, kind of gifted in that little special way. To be really fair, I mentioned to one person I was speaking to that Mr. Skepsis really was such a kind of forward-thinking individual. Because I was also a chorale person, and so, the fact that I wanted to do a dance class, somebody could have said, no, that's not happening. And he said, yes, as long as the numbers warranted it, we could have it as an addition to gym opportunities, and that would, be a way. And then it kind of snowballed, so that we were able to kind of think about how choreographically it would help in musicals. And so I really do thank him, because I would say, is it okay? Because we have to kind of come across from one place to another. And there was a time that I was pregnant with Michael, and then a lot of the ladies who were dancing with me were babysitters, and made that happen. So as far as what Mr. Hayner said about family, absolutely. So I'm not going to go on anymore, but I do want you to know that I'm very touched, and I think that it is really on you to, I see you as really stars of a fantastic event, and that you should honor yourself and be pleased that you were a part of something so unique and special. When you look at all the photographs and things, it should bring it back to you. I'm kind of super impressed with ourselves again, by looking at it, because you kind of forget, because it was all a part of what was going on in your life at the moment, and you don't see it as something that really would be, as lasting as this. So again, thanks for this special moment to, give it an exclamation point on a cake, and it's lovely to see you all again. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I used to babysit for Mrs. Rivers. That was my biggest thrill. I just want to point one thing out too. When we say we wrote the music, we really did write the music. It wasn't like we had Finale or Sibelius or any of these programs like we have now. We couldn't text a video of maybe a dance move that, Susan might have had and say, okay, if you have a look at this, and then she could send it to Mr. Heber or whatever the music was. It was we had to actually communicate to each other. And that, I think, is something that unfortunately isn't the same way we have our family now, So anyway, having said that, that gives even more credit to you, Mr. Hebert, for putting these orchestrations together with all of us. And as I say that, I will introduce Mr. Hebert to come up here and qualify those statements.
Thanks, Hillary. Ever since this was announced, however many months ago it was, I've been excited about having this event. Having a class reunion is one thing, but getting together a group of people from several years, over the years, and bringing us all together because we had a purpose as a group is something even more special than a class reunion, because we had something to focus on, and that was really great, is great. This revolution happened because Bob, what's your name? Bob. You said don't mispronounce my name, so. Bob Calamari. Bob had the idea of putting together something for the American bicentennial, and it evolved. We could call this show Evolution. And then everyone got involved with it, worked very, very hard to make this happen. There was a writing committee. There were some people doing lyrics, some writing melodies and getting the harmonies down. It was very easy. All I had to do was take the piano part and then decide who was going to play what. So we had all that foundation. And I listened to the recording of this a couple months ago again, for the first time in 40 years probably. Damn, it's good. There's some wonderful stuff on that recording. And everyone who was involved with that should just be so tremendously proud. Unfortunately, we didn't have a video of the entire production. I wish we had. But I don't think the technology was really up for it at the time. There is a film you're going to see, which is kind of scary. But it's just some clips from it. But it was great to do that. And when Patty was talking about or Kathy was talking about music by hand, this is one of the parts. I brought all the Urtext materials here, so if you wish to see them, some of them are falling apart. We were supposed to, the Utica schools actually copyrighted, well, I don't know if they copyrighted it or not, they should have. But I think they had it in storage, and I believe they don't have it anymore, but I didn't give them the originals. Okay, true confessions. I have them. They got photocopies. I guess maybe I'll just leave you this one last thing before I say thank you once again to everyone who put this together and how great it is to see everybody. And I'm glad you're all here and hope to talk to you more later. But this was written by, I think, Diane Cooper. This was her music from the Revolution that we performed at the Egg in Albany. We opened the Egg, as you know. We cracked the Egg open on July 4th, 1776. And some of the pictures over there are from that. There are also some pictures from Truth to Truth. But this is what she wrote. Dear future users of this music, we have learned under the baton of Maestro Ronald Hebert much to be accomplished through perseverance and hard work. Revolution has been invited to appear at the Toward Humanizing Education Conference at the Concord Hotel. Remember doing that one too? Yes. Yep. After dining on fried chicken and Mountain Dew, Catskills, get it? Catskills. We presented a splendid performance. This Orchestra of Revolution 1976 calls upon you to present another fine performance during the USA's tricentennial in 2076. And this is signed by the four directors that are up here. So if you want to take a look at that, it'll be over there. But thank you once again, everyone, for being here. I hope you have as great a time and as excited as I am about this. Thank you.
Okay, well that leaves us with one more. Mr. Barone, if you will come up here and join me. I really doesn't need any introduction.
I don't need the mic. Anyway, first of all, I want to thank you all for coming. I want to thank the marvelous committee that organizes. And I'm just amazed because they did it every... Jeannie kept saying, you want to be part of the on the line thing? I don't do that. I just text now, and that's it. But doing this all, you got to understand, they live all over the country. You know, they hadn't come together, they hadn't been together till yesterday. And it was so smooth. So I want to thank them all for that and for including you. I'll probably say some things that have already been said before, but I'll tell you that I, too, could not wait to come to school to work in the morning. I loved every minute of every day that I spent. That was the first thing. And secondly, had UFA still been open, was still open, they would have had to drag me out in chains, kicking and screaming before I would ever retire, really, because it was, to me, and I said I don't want to say much about it, but I didn't want them to know that I liked it so much that they would have quit paying me. You know, they would have made do it for nothing. One of the things that, and I think that Revolution proved that, it had something to do with, I always say, first of all, that show was the confluence of the planets and everything. Everything just seemed to come together at that certain point. And you know, we have talented people, and I still believe it's something in the water, the Mohawk River. It'll kill your kidneys and your liver, but it's something to do with the talent. It's something in that water that develops talent. One of the things that I think that made this show, and it made all the performing arts things that we did, was the fact that we had people, students, who were not afraid to fail, not afraid to make a mistake, to try it. If it doesn't work, the hell with it. We start from scratch. That's why I stayed so long. I was only going to stay a couple years, and we were going to move on. But I kept getting these terrific kids. They kept coming and coming. And I loved working with them because they were not intimidated. Because they'd never done it before and screwed it up. So they didn't know, okay? And we were just lucky. I was personally lucky to have these people to work with. And somebody asked me, Jeff, she asked me yesterday, she said, did you ever fight? Did you ever get
What?
What?
Speak up.
We never did. I don't think we did. I don't ever remember
Mr.
fighting.
Hamish fought. He said fought.
Well, maybe we had discussions, but we were all, but as Ron said, we were all of the same mind. We didn't know how we were going to get there all the time, but this is what we wanted to do. And we had kids, we never said, these are my kids, or those are your kids. They were our kids. They were our kids, and I think one of the things that brought this thing together, and I don't know why, but UFA was such a big school that kids didn't identify with their class, the class of 7 to 6. They identified with this group, and we were all kind of a little left of center, a little bit, didn't fit in the right spot all the time, a little on the weird side, and we loved it. We didn't care what we were, who you were, anything, where you lived. It was that we were all in this together, and I guess it developed. It was an us versus them kind of a philosophy, but that's what we did. And to this day, I thank you so much for letting me do my job and letting me love my job so much, because I did. And it had nothing to do with me. It had all to do with you people. Oh, okay. Now, I was deputed to introduce this film. Now, you probably might have seen some of it. Okay, this was done by Paisley and Company, starring Ken Scott and the Brothers Hotel.
As a part of America's bicentennial celebration, the City Board of Education in Utica, New York, commissioned an original theater piece based on the War for Independence. It took the form of a rock opera to be staged at Utica Free Academy, one of the city's largest secondary schools. From this single idea, the show grew until it encompassed 20 musical numbers and a cast of over 200 people. They called it Revolution.
Well, it all started in a restaurant in Grand Central. We were having lunch, waiting for our train. We'd gone down to New York to see some shows. And we've always had the idea of writing our own piece. And with the bicentennial coming up, we thought...
Ron Hebert and Bob Barone, performing arts faculty at Utica Free Academy, talk about the birth of Revolution.
It's a good opportunity for the kids to kind of use the talents that they have, and I think all of us have some creative ability. Take this creative ability and to put it into a show. We've done package shows. A lot of high schools have, where you take a show that's already been written and produce it, and you know what it's going to be, more or less, because it's been done. And the exciting thing about doing Revolution was starting with an entirely new product and getting kids involved right from the start and getting ourselves involved right from the start in doing something entirely new.
Well, then we had an idea. Now we had to put that idea into practice there. And fortunately for us at Project Searches, this is exactly the kind of thing that they liked, and we went to them and talked about this proposal, and they bought it. They wanted to go with it, and the next step was then, of course, into the writing of the thing. And we didn't say, you know, you write this, you write that, and everything. We left it kind of wide open and said, hey, anybody who wants to write, come in and do some writing, whether they want to write music, lyrics, whatever they want to do. And they came in, and from that we drew a kind of a nucleus of students and went with it.
Right, and then we got into the meeting every Wednesday night where kids would bring things in, and then we'd say, yeah, well, this fits, or, you know, maybe you need to do this with it. Try something here. Try this, try that. And it gave a lot of different people a chance to do different types of things without excluding any one type of student. I think, you know, we had people there from all the classes, freshman right through senior, and it gave people like Jeannie Walsh, who's a freshman, a chance to explore her talents as a lyricist. And whereas, you know, Mike DeSanctis with the opportunity to write a couple of songs, and he did all the artwork for us and everything else.
And orchestration.
Yeah, Sam and Sarah did their own orchestrations. I've never had a chance to do an orchestration in my life until I got into something like
let's
this.
face it, you know, this was a great opportunity for them, and it was a great opportunity for us. Where else are you going to get a chance to do it? They said, the Board of Education Project Search said, hey, go ahead and do it, and we did it.
You did it.
Where are you going to have an opportunity like that? Maybe never again, perhaps.
Right.
Certain students also accepted full responsibility for designing the set, as well as for blocking out and executing a wide variety of lighting effects.
When you're on stage, then sing.
Yeah.
You can't be singing out, you have the microphone turned way up.
Give me liberty, or give me death. Give me my liberty, or put my soul to rest.
The composing and arranging process was a valuable experience. Even though many of the compositions were first efforts, students were able to see their pieces completely orchestrated and choreographed.
Hang 'em from the highest shot on, burn them at the nearest tree. Blend every bit of revolution from that God-forsaken land. Hang them from the highest shot on, burn them at the nearest tree. Blend every bit of revolution from that God-forsaken
As the rehearsals continued, faculty and students worked together, polishing the show, tightening it up. everyone was beginning to discover the importance of self-evaluation and criticism in the creative process.
It's such a relationship, the cooperation that existed between the faculty and students, that we can take and say, yes, we can interact here, we can change this, we can add here, we can take away this, and nobody's going to feel offended. You're not stepping on toes. It's still part of the creative process to evaluate change.
James Hanisch directed the chorus and supervised some of the pieces.
And then they rewrote, and I think we did this even in rehearsal. There were things before we opened that we rewrote, and there are things now that we'd like to rewrite after the show has been in production and we've seen audience response and so on, and things that the kids know have to be changed. This melody isn't good here, this thing isn't good at this point, and they evaluate their own work.
That's hard to get to, the point where you can stand back, look at something you created, and smash it to smithereens if it's not what you want, and start all over again.
Well, I had some comments from people that questioning the educational value of it. They were obviously on the outside of it. If you were outside of it, looking at the finished product, you could question the educational value, but this agonizing process, this thing of seeing this thing grow, and to see it grow, and to see it develop into the finished product, and to see these kids really learning something, not only about the production aspects of it, performance aspects of it, the finished product aspects of it, but the real growth. Hey, I did that. That was mine. And this was mine. And mine and yours together made ours and made the whole thing work. That was the educational value. And if that isn't what education is about, then hey, let's forget it.
At all, I suppose it's time we split. What I'm trying to say without any delay is that's it. I quit because that House of Lords has a lust for wars and the king is raving mad. So stop the war, I'll have no more. That's it, I quit.
And I said, well, that music is so goddamn good.